Hi, hello. Buggy in the flesh. Buggy in the flesh. Hey, yo, you know it's Buggy in the flesh. What's good, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls across the world? Now, today is One Piece chapter 1082 official drop. So we're going to have the review come out this week, either on Monday or on Tuesday, hopefully, because obviously it has to be an official review. Therefore, we have to wait for the official chapter release, which came out. Now, the reason why I'm holding my mic like this right here is because there are some hardware difficulties going on at the moment, but I'll get that fixed in a few days' time. The fact of the matter is that for now, you have news anchor Cole breaking down this latest and greatest official chapter of One Piece for you good people.
Oh no! They're coming in through the back door!
Now, if you have not seen, for some reason, my live stream reaction to the chapter, you go where, of course, to my Cole Requiem channel for the full live stream reaction to the chapter itself, and of course, for the post discussion with the tier 3 guys on my twitch.tv channel, number one. Number two, if you haven't seen my reaction for, let's say, the One Piece episode 1061, you go to my Patreon, and later on be uploaded to my Kingu-san channel for free. Of course, all those links are where? In the description box down below, baby. Cinema! Sanji versus Queen is simply put cinema, and I'll be doing guaranteed a video obviously later this week for that episode. It is what it is. As per usual, we're gonna break down this chapter review by its three main components. Number one, of course, the pacing. Number two, the character components. Number three, of course, the story progression components for this chapter. And before we dive right into things, I need to give a brief word for today's sponsor. And of course, today's sponsor is none other than the Surfshark VPN.
Lovely.
So I'm willing to guess that most of you lads and ladies watching this video are weebs.
Correct, sir!
It is what it is. We are who we are, our chest held high, and we show the world unabashedly our appreciation of the culture of the land of the rising sun. But in doing so, sometimes we do venture into very dark and dangerous places where individuals that mean us no good, for damn sure, they are going to try and ruin our days, our weeks, our months. If you wind up in these dark and dangerous places, whether they be rated M for mature or not, it's up to you. But the fact of the matter is that you're gonna want some protection when you do go to these places, and Surfshark VPN has your back. Not only does it have some damn good features, like the clean web feature that removes any ads, malware, or trackers that's gonna be there to ruin your day. And even though I love cookies, the fact of the matter is that I hate them online, but Surfshark VPN can easily handle cookies, making my online experience all the more better. Surfshark VPN is quite literally available on all your devices, and also quite literally available all around the world. And one last thing too, if you don't know, now you know, a lot of my content is region gated.
Nani?
But you can easily gain access to mine and other region-gated content easily with Surfshark VPN by simply changing the region where you're located in, and then boom, just like that, you'll gain access to all those features that previously you could not gain access to. So go in the description box down below. Use code COLE, that is KOL, to get 83% off and 3 months free off of your purchase of Surfshark VPN. So on that note, thank you Surfshark VPN for being awesome. Once again, use code COLE, KOL, and now let's get back to the video at hand. So first and foremost, the pacing and chapter structure. For this chapter, there are a total of 7 parts, okay? I will use both hands, but I can't because, again, you have news anchor Cole, so I'm a bit nerfed today. It is what it is. So we have 7 parts for this chapter for the pace and chapter structure. Number 1 are the Navy headquarters New World location, which is Sengoku and Suru. Number 2 is Empty Bluff's New World, with, of course, Buggy and his clique. Number 3 is the meeting room, aka the torture chamber on Empty Bluffs. Number 4 is a Buggy flashback. Number 5 is back to real time on Empty Bluffs, and the clown charisma is popping off. Number 6 is Kamabaka Queendom Grand Line. And then number 7, finally for pacing, is Sabo arriving. And then he begins a meeting with Dragon and Eva Chan. So there is a bit, to say the least, there is a bit going on for this chapter of One Piece. But everything, of course, very important for the overall story for damn sure. It's the Marines, it's Buggy's clique, and it's the Rev. They are all prime movers of the story beyond the Strat crew. And Oda is really turning up the intensity of things going on beyond said crew. So the overall pace of this chapter I thought was solid. 7 parts, so that is I think above average for like One Piece standards, but nothing outstanding per se when it comes to pace overall. Now let's say in the same vein as chapter 1080 or 1079, no. But overall, the pace I thought was solid nonetheless, absolutely. Now after pace, of course, we have the character components for this chapter. And number 1, surprise, surprise, because I never thought he gets a character section. T-Bone, who would have thought? So T-Bone is pronounced dead on the papers. The Navy haven't revealed publicly his cause of death, but he was killed by a citizen of the PP Kingdom. Glorious. Definitely R. Kelly's favorite vacation destination. Absolutely.
Because you have daughters.
But, a man looking to claim the bounty that the Cross Guild put on T-Bone was the one that killed T-Bone. And the folks of this kingdom are always starving. Over 1,000 deaths a year because of the lack of food, simply to starvation. So this is a horrible place to live. This man did it for his family, to try and support them so they could survive in such a hellish condition. But for T-Bone's case here, in chapter 366, when we first see his full design, it's revealed that his hobby is saving people, and his motto is 100 good deeds per day. So he had no issue putting his body on the line to help someone. And in the next chapter, 367, he was ripping apart his jacket, the Marine symbol of justice. He was taking that, ripping it apart, trying to tend to the wounds of these Cypher Pole agents that were beaten up by Sanji during his assault. So he is a very honorable dude, and it's very likely that he let this person, this citizen, stab him in the back, since he himself would never hurt a civilian. So T-Bone went out his way, albeit not like the most grandiose and oh my god, no, he went out his way, but you can safely assume he did so in a very honorable, Chad-like way. I gotta make sure this thing's always in my face, man. I hate this goddamn anchor code nonsense. It's ridiculous. All right, so after that, we have Buggy. So Buggy, of course, obviously, is the main proponent. He's the main mover for character growth in this chapter. We get his viewpoint of the same flashback we saw in chapter 434, when Shanks and Wiper had their meeting on Wiper's ship. Buggy reveals that he gave up his real dream as a pirate because he saw just how much promise Shanks had when they were younger, cabin boys on Roger's ship. He thought that Shanks would follow in Roger's footsteps, but instead Shanks didn't feel like he was going to go there just yet, go to Laugh Tale just yet. In reality, Buggy himself wanted to be king of the pirates. And now that he's realized he's also a Yonko of the same caliber on paper, of course, as Shanks, he figures now is the time. So Buggy in this moment also showcases the will, the determination to stand up to individuals like Mihawk and Crocodile and proclaim his dream to the rest of his crew, despite the protest of those two. So even though Buggy, as well I guys said during my stream for that chapter reaction, even though Buggy is definitely not as strong as other former Roger Rabbit crew members, like Rayleigh, like Shanks, like Scopper, and so on, like Oden, duh, he has that will. When push came to shove, and he realized he could reach out and actually achieve his dream somewhat, Buggy in the flesh, and the clown charisma takes over. So Buggy has the will. Will Lita, let's say anything about Conqueror's Hockey future? Who really knows? But Buggy character for this chapter is the prime mover, absolutely. After Buggy is going to be Shanks, Loki, like super duper Loki. So in this chapter, there might be a sign of Shanks being taught sword skills by Roger right when the Buggy flashback starts, because we do see Roger patting Shanks' head with a strad on it, and we see him with the sword. So maybe there was some trails going on there between Roger and Shanks, which is why Shanks knows Roger's divine departure. So of course, obviously nothing clear at all. Very low key, but I'll kind of slide in there so it's on the record. After that, we have the Revolutionary Army Vice Captain's introduction. We saw 3 of them before in the past in chapter 905 when Bello Betty was talking to Koala. So number 1 is Ushiano. Ushiano is the vice captain of the Western Forces and Morley's subordinate. He is some sort of cow bull mink with an abnormally long neck. So his lineage could have a mixture of mink and long neck tribe in there. And he seems to be, for the most part, a very happy-go-lucky sort of fellow. That's number 1. Number 2 is Ahiru. Ahiru is the vice captain of the Eastern Forces and Bello Betty's subordinate. Has a metal arm like Kid, the left arm, and can kind of fire off some sort of range attack. She was pointing her arm at Sabo's ship that was like literally a dot in the horizon. So this range attack, in theory, that she could have fired at Sabo's ship is a pretty damn good long range attack. After Ahiru is going to be Gambo. Gambo is the vice captain of the Southern Forces, and he is Limburg's subordinate. There's gotta be some kind of devil fruit user stuff going on him, or there has to be an actual race of Eggmen out there. Of course, Sonic's worst nightmare, but this guy's composition is literally that of an egg. The dude is weird and likes to gamble or place bets on certain things, because he did initiate the bet between him and the 4th member of the vice captains we see so far, Jiron. So Jiron, this is the first time we're seeing his character because we have not seen before in the past. So Jiron is the vice captain of the Northern Forces and Karasu subordinate. His design in a way does remind me of Yonji's, and that is somewhat kind of fitting because he is the vice captain of the Northern Forces, the North Blue, the North remembers Germa 666. Yeah. So the idea is that maybe it's somewhat influenced from Germa, maybe, but potentially, of course. But what's most important here is not what he looks like, but what he's actually doing, because he's eating seemingly binoculars. Some of that Walpole would do. He's eating them, and he seems to be fine eating binoculars wholesale. So it could be tech related, but I have my doubts. I think it's very likely that this is devil fruit shenanigans, and along the same vein of Walpole's ability. That I think is clear, very clear. So that is it when it comes for the character section of this chapter review. The character components are good in this chapter. Not the greatest, they are good. And of course, Buggy absolutely, positively takes the cake. And now finally we have the story progression components of this chapter, the main meat of this chapter. Number 1, T-Bone is dead. The effects of the cross guild are starting to affect the Marines more than seemingly anticipated. T-Bone is a Navy headquarters vice admiral, and he is unironically one of their stronger fighters. So given his mindset and personality, there are likely many Marines and people in general that are greatly troubled by his passing. The effects of the cross scale are major, and Sengoku wants to wipe them out immediately, as soon as humanly possible. However, Sengoku gets word from Hina that Chujo went to Full Lead Island to save Kobe, and Kujaku, who was revealed in chapter 1080 to be Suru's granddaughter, is also likely with him. So Hina dropping a big bombshell for Sengoku and Suru, and they may likely actually wind up going to Full Lead Island to try and help save Garp, Kujaku, and so on and so forth. After this, the man that killed T-Bone gets a warm welcome from Buggy and his boys, and he gets to witness Buggy in the flesh. Buggy in the flesh. Now, his family have gotten the money, and they are seemingly, hopefully, leading better lives as a result of him killing T-Bone. However, because he killed T-Bone, he would now be, of course, hunted down by the Marines. So Buggy and his boys accept him as one of their own. Now, Buggy himself also gets a new ship made for him by his good shipwrights, and the ship is impressive, albeit Mihawk and Crocodile may disagree. Now, Crocodile and Mihawk, they go over their idea of attaining more power to build this, quote, utopia and this military nation. Because Crocodile wants that in of itself, and then Mihawk wants peace and tranquility, right? He wants to be alone and just be to himself. However, Buggy lays down the sauce. Buggy brings out the clown charisma, and the clown charisma is far more powerful than even the Doflamingo pace. Absolutely. Buggy's perspective in chapter 434, that Shanks flashback, is revealed, and his real dream is revealed. Buggy, king of the pirates, aiming for literally the greatest pirate seat in all of the world. Buggy stands up to Mihawk and Crocodile and shows them what they lack. And mind you, according to One Piece episode in chapter 0, both Crocodile and Mihawk were present on Logtown during Roger's execution. So to say that these guys were at one point in time motivated is cap. They were there. They have ambitions that are greater than all utopia and simple tranquility and peace. No, they have ambitions that are greater than that for damn sure. But Buggy yeeted their dreams from the darkness and rallied the forces despite Mihawk and Crocodile's protests. The time is now. Buggy is in the race full bore to be king of the pirates, along with Blackbeard, along with Shanks, and of course, Monkey D. Luffy. The race. And I'll be doing a video on that one for damn sure later on. Absolutely. After this, of course, we cut over to the Rev, and we have once again the introduction of the Rev vice captains. Furthermore, Sabo returns. For some dumb reason, folks actually thought that Sabo was dead. Like, what? He reveals that he was not on the Lulusia country itself directly in chapter 1060. This is something that a few folks didn't know to even back then, where Sabo in 1060 was not looking up, he was looking out. He was looking this way, not directly up above him, speculating that Sabo was not on the island itself when it was destroyed. And this chapter confirms the speculations of those people that said it back then. So those cats get a W. Sabo was not on Lucia, that country. He was on a ship with people from that kingdom who wanted to join the Revolutionary Army. Going even further beyond, he says that he sent Koala an indirect call signal, 3 noises. And in the scanlation version of chapter 1060, there are these 3 dashes after the "Please beware of tsunami" text box from the Marines. It's really hard to tell if those 3 noises of Morse code is what he means, like those actual dashes. But in the official, there is that ... exclamation mark after the Marines say beware of tsunamis. And that ... exclamation mark could also be what Sabo's talking about, those three noises. So it is very, 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 very unclear when Sabo sent it out, but it is clearly sent it out after Lulusia was destroyed, because beforehand he was talking to the Rev guys because it was like an emergency call, because that was an emergency call he had to make to Dragon and company. And then keep in mind that in that same chapter 1060, we have the Marines trying to listen in on Sabo's call to Kamabaka, but the Gorose tell the Marines to cut off communications before Lulusia was wiped out. Shh, gotta keep things hush hush. So after the country was obliterated, as he stated in this chapter 1082, he didn't want his calls to be intercepted and he switched to code. So after this, Sabo, Dragon, and Eva-chan have a red table talk about what happened in the sacred Holy Land, aka Mary Joe's pub. And this is juicy. This is about to get real good. I hope we focus on that, because at some point we does get back to, of course, Luffy and company and the Seraph himself and brother Garth fighting against Aokiji and but I really want to find out what on earth happened when Sabo and a few good men went to the Holy Land. Absolutely. So there is a lot when it comes to the story progression for this chapter. Absolutely. And all of it is for the overall story, not within the arc itself, Egghead Island, but the overall story. And that, of course, is always where the story progression hits the hardest. So for this chapter, story-wise, muy bueno. Muy bueno. So, finally, the final thoughts for this chapter. Yes. Y-E-S. This was a good chapter, One Piece, for damn sure. The pace, I thought, was, again, could be better. Character was okay, but it's the story progression. It is the story progression that carries, that piggybacks this chapter to good levels and beyond. Absolutely. Because Buggy making the move is a big deal, but a necessary step, because Buggy, I thought, even though I didn't like it, it was inevitable where he had to be among the main rivals for the One Piece treasure itself. I didn't know how it was gonna happen, but now we know. Buggy wants the treasure himself, okay? And Sabo and Rev stuff is always good stuff, because the Revs are going to be primary allies against Emu and company. And there's a good case here, given the man with the burned scar and this all black ship, the Black Pearl. I did a video on that one over here. Check it out. Boom. There's a good chance here that City of the Rain's words are right, where this person is involved with the world government. So there could be a war, a battle over the last poneglyph to get to the One Piece, because obviously the world government, they don't want anyone reaching Laugh Tale. Anyone. So that being said, this chapter in my book, I would say, is a 7.5 to an 8 out of 10. A good plus chapter of One Piece without a doubt.